Hey everyone, it's Quick here, and I just wanted to go over some breaking changes in the newest update for my Path of Exile Leveling guide. I've made a whole lot of really cool new changes, and you can check out another video for that. But for this one, I just want to go over the things that break in old builds. So the application is actually set up to continue working with old builds. So if you make no changes, it should read in your build and technically keep working, but in kind of a gimped state. So let's talk about what you'd need to do in order to bring your guide into the new version. So first, let's look at what the old version looked like. So you'll notice we have all of these acts, and they are using Roman numerals, so 9 is always out of order. It always bothered me. And then within each act, each zone has its own text file where you can put information that's only displayed while you're in that zone. So if you need to remember to do specific things or need directions to get to that zone, you can put that there. So that's how it used to work. In the new version, we've got all of the acts numbered now. So that's the first thing you'll need to do is number your acts. You'll notice we actually have an 11th act now. This is the Kirak quest line to guide people through that. And once you actually get into the acts, all of the notes are now in a single note file. So you'll notice all of these zones are now listed with a zone tag. And so that's how it knows to go to the next one. So anything you have in between here will go in the zone above it. So you can add any extra notes you want to each zone. It ignores white space or empty spaces, so that is technically the same as that. So don't put extra spaces in there. It's not going to do anything. And then, yeah, whenever if you leave a zone out, it'll just ignore it. But I recommend having at least the default notes for all of the regular zones. So if you have no zones, no zone information or guide information, it will actually now use these notes here. So we've got default notes, abbreviated notes, and detailed notes. So this is what I think most people should be using, but if you'd like to keep it short, take up less space on your screen, you can use abbreviated. And if you really need some help, you can go to detailed. But if you don't have notes in your guide, technically your guide could just have your passive tree, and it will use these notes based on whichever one you've selected in the settings. So that's pretty cool. But what we're going to talk about today is how can I take this old version and move it to the new version. So you could do what I had to do for the first couple and slowly change all of these names and create a notes.txt file and put all of this information in it. But it's a faster way now, right? I've already done that for you. So I'm going to show you what that looks like today. Abbreviated actually isn't done yet. Default and detailed are done. So we're going to do the first section of abbreviated to show what that looks like. So what I did is I actually just copied default to abbreviated, and that's what you can do for any of your builds, right? So let's say here you've got a new build, my cool new build, right? Or, my old build, that's fine too. And then copy one of these into it. So let's take default, for example. We'll take all of our new acts and just put them in the cool new build, right? And from here, you can then change just the things you care about, right? You can add your tree, and then you can update the notes with your specific notes. And that's what we're going to do now for the abbreviated notes. So that'll hopefully save you a lot of time. So here we've got our old abbreviated notes, and we're going to go look at the new ones. And I've already copied in the new acts, so that's good. And they've already got the old guide and old notes. The guides are actually the same for abbreviated and default, so we won't have to change them. It's just the notes we're going to have to update, right? So we're going to open our notes over here. Make that a little smaller and taller. And then we can open the notes that we want to put into our large note section, right? And so we'll just copy and paste. That easy. And then we'll go to the next one, the coast. And Tidal Island. And mudflats. Submerged passages. So you'll notice we missed fetid pool here, and that's because most runs you should never actually be doing the fetid pool. And that's fine. So you could remove that if you wanted to, but then you'll get an error message if you ever actually walk into the fetid pool. Flooded depths. The ledge. The climb. Lower prison. And you see, since I've got all the zones already here, this is a lot faster than me having to type all of these zones out the first time I had to do this. So prisoner's gate, just make sure you're putting the right zones in the right place. Especially like the fetid pool, if there are extra there, make sure you skip those. Ship's graveyard. And I'm gonna add a space here. Again, this space isn't necessary, it's just so we can read it a little easier. Yeah. Cavern of Wrath, almost done. And I promise I'm not going to do it for all of these guys. I'm just showing you one so you get the gist. Cool. There we go. So we're done with notes. Close it, save, yep. Awesome. So now we have our notes done. If this was an actual build, you could copy your tree in as well. Since these are just notes, this is a new concept in the new build. Anything in the notes section will get read in if your guide doesn't have notes, which is nice because it means you can now make a guide that's just your tree and then pick which notes you want, abbreviated, default, or detailed. Or we'll add your own, right? Hopefully we get some community submissions there too. But we've kind of separated those notes and trees, so because the notes don't change very often. But if this were a build where you had default notes and you wanted a tree, you just copy your tree in as well. And I'm pretty sure the guides are already the same. Guide there, guide there. Oh, well, this one's actually smaller, so that's good. We'll leave it since it's abbreviated. I changed that earlier. I should have remembered that. Because the old guide has gems in it, and you don't need that anymore since we've got the gem guide on the left. So for the abbreviated, I took it out. It's in the default. So if you like having that as part of the guide, you can put that in. So that's it. I'm going to go through the rest of these and update them. But now you've seen how you can take, if you had custom notes, and for most of the guides that were there, if you're using one of the guides, well, if you're using one of my guides, I'm going to update all of them anyway. So you don't have to do any work there. But if you went through and you maybe added something to Tidal Island, like you wanted a note about killing Hillrake early instead of late, so you got a lower level gem, or reminding yourself about a Quicksilver, right? If you added stuff here, you will need to then go in and add it to the notes.txt section. And if you have your own fully customized notes, you'll need to do what I just did and copy them into a notes.txt. But for the most part, you guys shouldn't have to change anything. If you've got your own guide, all you'll need to do is change the acts to numbered acts instead of Roman numerals. And the rest of it will pull in. So you could even technically leave these here because I just don't read them anymore. And if you don't have a notes.txt file, it'll go and read it from the notes section. So technically you don't have to change anything if you don't want to. But if you'd like to customize things, like I know a lot of you like to do, just create a notes.txt and put your custom notes in there in your build. All right, guys, go look for the other video for all of the cool new changes coming out with the 4th version of this leveling guide. And I'll see you all in maps. Cheers.